You're on.
And we're off. Hold on. Let's begin. So the Gemara says on Kaf Chet Amud Bet 28b1 at the top, the Mishnah. Just so you understand, we have this page, and then we have a little small page over here, a little bit item over there, and we're done. So I don't even know if we want to do the siyum after I get back from Poland. We might
see where we are.
We might need to. We might keep the rest. We might not have Sunday. Yeah. Okay. Nashim b'moed. Top Mishnah. Nashim, women b'moed me'anot avalo mitapchot. On Chol HaMoed, okay. Nashim b'moed, they're allowed to me'anot from a lashon of inui. And what does that mean? They're allowed to sing. They used to have like a mournful song that they would sing, okay? Not really. Therefore, there it's talking about that like someone's domain.
That's what he said related to today. The girls crying. The God takes their prayer very serious. Girls pray. They cry and they get very emotional.
So, and they would even be professional. We spoke about it. They would even be professional mourners. Okay. Anyway, screamers they would call them. Yeah. Now, but the point is that we've got these ladies, and they're allowed to on the Moed me'anot avalom mitapchot, but they're not allowed to clap with their hands. That kind of just moves things to a stage beyond. If you remember, we had mitapchot. Mitapchot could be on the hand or exactly on the. If you want a way to remember it, that, just remember that that's how they used to tell you how to do the.
Right. Yeah, that thing.
With the horse. Okay, that's what it. Okay, see what you get here in the Gemara class. Unbelievable. Some people get Rashi, some people get this. Okay. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah. Avalo mitapchot, but they can't clap. Rabbi Ishmael says, Hasimuchot lemata mitapchot. Anyone who's next to the aron itself, those people are allowed to clap. Why are they allowed to clap if they're next to the mita, next to the casket, according to Rabbi Ishmael? The answer is, since they're directly in front of the met, so they're allowed a higher expression of mourning. Okay? However, if you're looking at the Tanakama does not hold that. He says that under no circumstances are they allowed to be mitapchot. They could do this inui, they could sing, they could mourn, they could call out, but they can't do this clap. Rabbi Ishmael says, well, it depends. If they're close, then they're allowed to clap. Rosh Chodashim, on Rosh Chodashim, in Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim, we have Rosh Chodesh right now, Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim, Me'anot u'mitapchot. They're allowed to do both, because Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, and Purim are less of a holiday than Moed Kattan, than Chol HaMoed. Bazeh vazeh lo mekonenot. But on Chanukah, Purim, Rosh Chodesh, and Chol HaMoed, lo mekonenot. They're not allowed to have a kina. Kina was this, there was not just like a statement, like the kinot, the lamentations that they would have. Elegy. No, elegy is the first one. Yeah. Elegy is the ma'anot. This is over here, mekonenot is a kina, that's a higher level of a lamentation. And that they were not allowed to do. That was, what's it called? That was worse than the other ones. Okay? Then me'anot u'mitapchot.
Do it on Tisha B'Av?
Kinot we do on Tisha B'Av, yes. Okay? Nikbar hamet lo me'anot v'lo mitapchot. Once the dead person is already buried, at that point, lo me'anot v'lo mitapchot. So it doesn't say quite clearly what he's talking about, but it would seem that he's now saying this about going back to the beginning. So in other words, not on Chol HaMoed, not on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, or Purim. Once the person is buried, at that stage, lo ma'anot, lo mitapchot, no clapping, no ma'anot, because any of these days are already a level enough of simcha that it's not appropriate to do that after the person dies.
He was insinuating from the death minute before the burial?
Or we're talking about in the funeral, like at the funeral.
At the funeral.
Right? So,
Yes, until the
so
funeral.
here we're talking about nikbar amet. Once it's already buried, at that point we move on. We don't even allow the lower levels of mourning on any of these days. Ezui inui. So what is this inui? You're going to give me a difference between an elegy, a eulogy, what's it called? A tautology. You can give me all these different things that nobody knows what they are, right? So what's an elegy? What's the difference? What's a kina? Shekulan onot ke'echad. An elegy is when everyone does it together. So you know what it reminds me of when we talk about an elegy? You know how when they're carrying the casket and then when they're like, Yoshe beseter elyon, etzel shaddai itlonan, omar amonai. Everyone is saying it mournfully together. That's chanting together is the ma'anot. Okay? Kina, what's a kina? She'echad midaberet, de kulam onot achareh. Where one person does it and everyone responds after. It's very interesting. When Sefaradim say Tehillim, we say everyone together. When Ashkenazim say, they go everyone goes right? Yeah. You're able to psych the people up more, right? Because the guy he's able to put the emotion in his voice, and you can hear him crying and everyone. So the kina is when it's responsive, okay? Vilamdena benotechem nehi v'isha riuta kina. So the pasuk says, let's see the full pasuk in the pasukim over here. The pasuk says, "Vilamdena, kit shamana nashim devar amonai." When the woman will hear the word of God, "Vatikach oznechem devar piv," and your ears will hear, they will take the words of Hashem's mouth. "Vilamdena benotechem," you will teach your daughters, "Nehi." At that point, you'll teach the girls to mourn, and the women, each woman will teach the kina, the lamentation, to her friend. So you see, first of all, that there's two different elements of mourning, right? One is nei and one is kina. But secondly, that there's the isha re'uta, there's a woman and a friend. There's like a relationship between the one and the two where it's being said over. Now, what's interesting is, as well, we also have this same concept, not only in sadness, we also have it in joy, right? We do it in Hallel, we say, right? That's the responsive nature within joy. Okay? Here we have the responsive nature within mourning.
Didn't we say
Aval, sorry?
Point earlier, didn't we say that the women didn't go a lot of times?
That's you're talking about into the cemetery.
No, didn't we say women don't go to funerals? Didn't we say that? No?
That we said that there's a danger for them to go to the funerals.
Yeah.
But again, doesn't mean that they didn't go.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that they didn't take part at all. It might have been the beginning, not the middle, not the end.
There seems to be a movement now
in
our community not to have the women come to funerals.
There's two reasons.
Back to that, you mean?
Yes. Right now.
Yeah.
There's two reasons for it. One reason is because there isn't really enough room in 67, right? When you have a packed funeral, there's not enough room, and the men and women are all on top of each other. Inside, outside. It's just like a big mix. It's supposed to be a holy thing. It's not. They feel it's not respectful, especially. It's usually the very religious.
Yeah.
And the rabbis. You're finding it.
The request, no women.
When it's the other thing is
the family. Let the women come.
According to Kabbalah, the higher item is that when women are present at a funeral or in the cemetery, and the men will look at the woman if they see a nice, beautiful woman. They look at the woman. The Satan has the right. The Satan has the right to exact a terrible price, because if in that moment that's what you're thinking about, you're in the Satan. It's like the Satan. The Malach HaMavet has home court advantage. It's home court advantage. So they say it's a terrible. So therefore, they never want to put people in that situation. Yeah. Anyway, so that's up the Zohar. Okay. So Rabbi Asa was a huge Zohar guy. Right. So Soli wanted to do everything the way his father would have wanted it to be done. Okay. All right. I think, by the way, I think his father may have actually asked specifically for it before he passed. Aval, la'atid lavo hu omer, but in the future, it says, Bilah hamavet lanetzach, Hashem will destroy, take away death, lanetzach forever, u'macha Hashem Elokim, dim'ah me'al kol panim, and Hashem, our God, will erase dim'ah, tears, me'al kol panim, from on every face, from all faces. So the Mishnah is ending by saying, listen, we're teaching you all these laws about mourning and about avelut, but la'atid lavo, you should just know there will come a time where there won't be death anymore in the world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring those nishamot back and remove all the sadness from the people. Okay, Gemara says, "My Amaran." What is this elegy ma'anot that they all answer together? Amarav, Vaila Azla, Vaila Chavila. Vaila Azla means, oh no, like woe is la Azla to the going. Vaila Chavila, and also woe over the Chavila. Now this is an interesting thing. They've translated over here as security, but look at Rashi for 1 second. Right, look at the top line, Rashi Chavila. You see it? Everyone see it up here, straight up at the top, Rashi? Mm-hmm. You see it right here? Chavla. What does he say, Chavila? Chavila is Chavla. Not Chafla, that's something else. Chafla is happy. Right? Chavla is like something where there's damage done, where something is broken, where something is, right? So, like chovel b'chavero is to inflict like a wound, right, is on someone. All right?
Why do they translate security?
I think that they're just kind of like giving you the inverse of the idea, you know? I'm not really sure why they chose, they chose to follow like a Rabbeinu Hananel's pirush on this. Yeah, they followed his pirush, right? Neshid the like you see it over here.
Oh, security meaning
like a security deposit.
Like a security deposit.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. But again, I don't know why they departed from what Rashi over here says, which is a little bit. Now, if you look over here, like right at the bottom, look at the bottom. Oh, last line at the bottom, the tiny letters. That's the extra Rashi, okay? Vaila azla, vaila chavila. Woe to the one that goes. Oy la lahalicha kazot, she'ena chozer. Woe to this person that's traveling, that's going on this journey, is not coming back. Ve'oy la masoi kazeh, and woe to a weight like this, shenosim et hamet, that they're carrying, like chavila means like a package. Woe to this traveling, and woe to the package, like what a heavy load it is to bear. What a heavy load the beer is to bear. The Amara, Vaila Azla, Vaila Chavila. So now what was he giving you? He's giving you like some sort of that was a statement that you had, like, you know, you always have these pithy euphemisms that kind of make their way into language.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as an example, someone might say, Yom Asla, Yom Asl, Yom Basl, right? You have that in Arabic. One day is honey, one day is onion, right? So what does that mean? One day is onion. It means that you have there's good days and there's bad days.
It's like a cliche, like a little...
Yeah, it's like a saying, okay? So that this elegy, this ma'anot, was like these lines that you go past a protest. You hear them saying, you know, free, whatever the I might be, right? So they have lines that they say. Since they're all saying it together, so they said something that would sound good as a group. For a second, think of the auditory nature. There's the oy, vai, la azla, vai, the chavila. The beginning is the same, and the end is the same. The sound is the same. You could imagine a crowd saying that together. Okay? Anyway, says the Gemara, Amarava, Neshe de Shachan Tziv, the women of this certain place called Shachan Tziv, Amran Hachi, they used to say like this, Vaila Azla, Vaila Chavila. One of the items that they used to mourn, they would say as a ma'anot, was this one that we just said. The Amarava, Rava says, Neshi de Chashin Tzviv, The women of this place used to say, Gud garma mikacha ve'nimti maya la'antiche. Right? Cut garma, the bone, mikacha, from the gums, okay? Ve'nimte maya la'antiche, and let the water come to the kettle. Now again, each one of these ideas, look at Rashi for a second. Naflu halichayim, namtu maya la'antiche, klomar hadri maya lemafrea klape maya. They're saying that you take out, you cut the teeth out from the mouth, right? All of a sudden the cheeks, you lose the smile, you lose the thing. Hadramai, the water goes back to the heavens. Yani, the neshama is going back, exactly, to the heavens. So again, another one of these.
From this world,
Sorry?
Cutting the neshama from this world.
I think it's more than that. I think it relates also to the, to the idea that when a person dreams of teeth falling out, it was supposed to be a representation of someone passing away, right? So again, this idea, we're talking about cutting the teeth out from the bone. Anyway, Ve'amar Rava. Hold on one second. Yeah. So I mean, if you could imagine, that's something that happens it's a progression. So in other words, if you take the teeth out, and if you ever saw someone who doesn't have the teeth in their mouth, they try and drink something or eat something.
It goes out.
That's what it's saying here. When you take out the teeth from the mouth, then the water in the mouth flows back in the vessel. So too, in other words, there's a certain point where you're going to take out something, and then the soul, that which is inside, is going to reverse the flow back to the, so to speak, to rise to Shamayim. I don't know why they didn't say something a little bit more, straightforward, but these are all like they're sayings. Sorry?
They're tired at the last 2 pages.
They I don't know.
Go to dinner. They want to get that thing out to you.
Well, if they said something nicer, they could have gotten in the early pages. Rava. And Rava says, Nished chashintziv amran. The women of this town would say, Atuf vechasu ture debar rame uba rav revihu. Again, another euphemistic expression. So they said, Atuf vechasu ture. Atuf means like lihita'atef b'tzitzit. So wrap vechasu and cover ture mountains. Debar rame. Okay, because this man was a lofty man. Ubar rav revihu. And he is also a great man. So he's like a high man, barame, like a Rama, and also barav of a great man. So in other words, they were almost asking like the mountains to mourn this great person. All right? Now, there's lots of different ways of expressing each one of these euphemisms in a way where it describes accurately the mashal of what they're trying to do. Are they speaking to the mountain itself? Are they speaking to the clouds, that the clouds should wrap themselves around the mountain, looking like a sign of mourning? Ve'amar Rava says, Nishid chashin tziv amar, the women would say, Shiul itztela demilta, okay, lebar chorin, deshlimu zevadeh. This, the beer, the casket that the person has is like itztela demilta. It's like a wrapping, a robe of the finest material, okay? Silk or fine wool. Debar chorin deshlimu zevadeh. To a free person, bar chorin, deshlimu zevadeh, that now already he has nothing left. So in other words, it's almost like we're looking at the coffin as if now that he's run out of ability or days to live or koach or health, now he's wrapped in the raiments of what's it called, of the coffin. They used to say, Rahit v'nafil ama'abara v'yizufta yazif. Rahit means he runs. V'nafil means that he falls. Ama'araba, where you cross over, right? At the crossing point, like ma'avar. V'yizufta yazif. And when he gets there, he has to borrow. So what do you think that means? A person who's running and he's falling, and then at the place where he crosses over, I think it means, a guy, you have to pay for the funeral, or as an example, maybe a more lofty way of seeing it, is that this man, a person runs through their whole life, but when the time comes and they fall at the place where they're crossing over from heaven to earth, at that point, he winds up needing to borrow to pay his expenses. There's a famous story about a young yeshiva student. He was decided to go to work because he needed to support his young family. So as he's running to work, he's stopped by a great rabbi, and the rabbi says to him, "Where are you running?" He says, "I'm running to work." He says, "Why are you running to work from the Bet Midrash, from Shul? Why are you running to work?" He says, "Otherwise I won't have enough to live." He says, "Do you have enough to die?"
Crazy.
Do you have enough to, are you ready? Is your 401 Shamayim K ready for you to retire there? That you have enough to live on eternally in Shamayim?
Meaning you don't have enough learning?
Learning, mitzvot, zichuyot. Right. You're very worried about if you'll have enough to live. Do you have enough to die? It hit him like a ton of bricks, stops in his tracks. And he decided to rededicate himself to learning, this young man. And he became the Alter of Navardak, which is one of the great leaders of the Mussar movement. I think after experiencing this idea of how powerful someone saying something to you in the right way, in the right moment could be, he decided to dedicate his life to it. And he built his whole yeshiva of people that were very focused on Musar and living life the right way. But it could all be attributed to that one line. I think it was from Rabbi Yisrael Salanter who said it to him. Either way, let's look now at this line again from the women of Shachan Tziv. A person is running, Rahut v'nafil, running through life, and he falls Ama'abara at the crossing, at the place of crossing over. And there, Hada's going to need to borrow to be able to pay his expenses in Shamayim. You don't have nothing in his bank account. Not wild. V'amar Rava. And Rava says, Neshida Chashachan Tziv Amran. The women of this place used to say, Achana Tagre, Azav Zege Mibadku. Achana means our brothers. Tagar means a salesman or a merchant. Okay, our brothers. Tagare, the merchants, the sellers. Azav Zege Mibadku. They're going to check when you cross over with your goods. You know, you want to cross into the customs. What do? If you're trying to sell something, they look through your bags. This was a reminder to all the people that are attending the funeral. Understand that just like when you go through customs, someone goes through your bags, checks what you've got, right? There comes a point when a person passes away where they look through the suitcase and they want to see, what'd you do? What didn't you do? What are you carrying with you? What'd you leave behind? I remember once I was coming into the country, and all of a sudden as I came in, this dog comes barking like a Majnuna. I'm looking at the dog, what does it say on it? Department of Agriculture and this and that. They have the drugs dogs, they're barking at my suitcase. The police comes running over, he says, open your bag. Open my bag, he looks through. I said, what did he smell? He said he smelled that you had an orange in your bag.
Oh, of course.
I said, I had the orange in my bag on the way to the airport in Israel.
It's still the scent.
Wow.
12 hours later, the kelb could smell that I had an orange in my bag. Right? Just thinking, sometimes it's not even the stuff that you have in your bag currently. It's the stuff that you once had in your bag. If you didn't do teshuvah, you didn't purge it from the bag, then that's also part of the search. The Amar Rava, and Rava says, the Shachan Tziv Amaran. The women used to say, Mota ki mota, umar'in chibulaya. Mota ki mota, one death. When one person passes, the same as another person passing. Umar'in chibulaya. And that's the death is like the principle, right? Umar'in chibulaya. And the suffering that a person has, right, that's the interest payments. Yani. So in other words, everybody dies. There's nobody doesn't die. But some people got a better rate on the Mavet. They had a higher suffering on the way there. Some people had a less of a suffering. What are they saying? In each one of these cases, the idea of the Nisheh Shachansiv was to inspire the thought process in the people that were attending the funeral, the family, the people that were coming. So they would create these lines that could be said over and over by the people as the body is being carried, and it would turn this moment not just from a moment of personal sadness, but into a moment of reflection. And actually, it reminds of the famous pasuk of Shlomo HaMelech that the Gemara is going to quote. The Gemara says, Tanya, we learned in the Braita, Haya Rabbi Meir Omer. Rabbi Meir used to say, Tov lalechet el bet avel. Now, just take a look for 1 second because it's good to see the whole pasuk. It's 3 lines into the pasuk over here, okay? Tov lalechet, better to go el bet avel, to the house of mourning, milechet el bet mishteh, than to go to the house of celebration, to a wedding. Ba'asher hu sof kol ha'adam, ve'achai yitere libo. Since when you go to the bet avel, that's the end of a person's life. Ve'achai yiten elibo. But the one who's still alive will take to heart what he has just learned in the Hasa Avel. You go to a wedding, you learn nothing. It didn't make you reflect on your mortality, on your decisions, on your choices. All you're deciding is which of the items on the buffet you want to eat, right? Whereas in a Bet Avel, a person is thinking, wow, legacy, what did the person do? What kind of marriage did they have? How is this person missed? How are they celebrated? How are they going to carry it on? So Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest of all men, said, rejoicing is very nice, but actually, you want to know what's better for you? Better to go to Bet Avel. And the living will take it to their heart. What's this Hachayiten Elibo? Divarim Shel Mita, elements of the death. Now again, we're not referring to the morbid elements of death. The person should be thinking of death, but rather thinking, 1 second, we have a certain amount of time here. I don't know if you ever realize that. You ever go to the restaurant and the guy comes over, you're having a great time, and the guy says, just come to tell you.
20 minutes.
He says, the kitchen is closing. If anybody wants a dessert, we had the menu. You got to get in the menu, right? Now let's say everybody wants dessert, but Joey's in the middle of telling a fascinating story. Telling the story. They're waiting. Joey. 20 minutes, 15, 18 minutes. Dessert. 18 minutes go out, 2 minutes. Finally, your brother David said, Joey, 2 minutes to the dessert. Right? We gotta get the dessert. Cut the story short. By the way, me neither. I'd rather hear the story. Either way, right? So at a certain point, a person realizes the kitchen's closing. Yeah, you're gonna want to get the mortgage. You want to lock in a 3.0 rate. The feds are coming, and they're gonna lift it by 2 percentage points. Get your mortgage in. So that's the divarim shel mita, the elements of death causes actually more life when a person takes them to heart. Says the Gemara, what does this mean? Divarim shel mita, disped yispedune. First of all, that if you take the time to give a nice dirasha, eulogy for somebody else, then they're going to eulogize you. You visited a house of mourning, then someone will visit your house of mourning. Dikbar yikberune. If you help to bury somebody else, they also feel like I went to the guy's funeral. He came to I gotta go. He came to if he carries, then they'll carry for him. Didal yidlune. If one, so to speak, raises himself up for them, then also they'll do the same for him. So it's an interesting thing. All the other ones are very simple, right? You understand what they mean. What does it mean, raises themselves up? Rashi says, take a look right in the middle of the Rashi over here. Didal yidilune, kelomar, magbihin behesped, lemishe magbia kolo lehesped la'acherim. He doesn't raise himself up, yani himself, but he speaks loudly, or he cries out loud, or he brings everyone to an emotional, pitch. So whatever it is that you're going to do, they're going to do for you as well. So Devarim Shel Mita means just make sure you have your insurance policy. Other people say, Delo Yidal Yedelune. If you don't raise yourself, then they'll raise you. Dichtiv, because the Pasuk says, Kitov Amar Lecha Ale Henna. Says the Pasuk, take a look at the full pasuk. The full pasuk is over here. Ki tov amalach alehena me'ashpilecha lefnei nadiv asher ra'u enecha. Better amar lecha, that they should say to you, come here, alehena me'ashpilcha, from putting yourself down lefnei nadiv, in front of a generous person, asher ra'u enecha, that you're forced to see. So in other words, they're saying that if the person doesn't push himself forward in life, then when it comes time, then they'll push him forward. Person who doesn't seek out the honor, they'll make sure to honor him. All right? Let's do the last piece over here for today. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, Kishemetu banav Rabbi Ishmael, when Rabbi Ishmael's sons passed away, Nichnasu al ba'azekim lenachamu. You had 4 rabbis, tag team, they came to try and lift his spirits, to console him. Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Yossi Aglili, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva. These guys are always hanging out together.
Top guys.
Good crew.
They're hanging out at the Haggadah. They're going on the Pesach program together, right? They're traveling together. We had them already in Ta'anit, right? Okay. Anyway, tag team. They all go together to bring Rabbi Ishmael a consolation. Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfon says, De'u shechacham gadolhu ubaki ba'agadot. This man is incredibly big Talmid Chacham, and he knows all the agadot, all the Gemaras that describe the non-halachic Gemaras. The ones that give you hashkafa, how to live your life, the ones that give advice, the ones that teach us interesting lessons. He knows all of them. No one should try and, kind of squeeze in or TO on their other friend. So, number one, don't say the same thing as the other guy. And number two, don't interrupt the other guy, because the minute you interrupt the other guy, then they were worried that Rabbi Ishmael would consider it like a discussion, and then he might be tempted also to join in. What's the halacha for Avel? Not allowed. So you're going to tell him Agadah to give him comfort, but all of a sudden, no, he's like, he'll go and he'll get involved. He's not allowed to get involved. Okay. So they tell him, he gives that advice. Rabbi Akiva says to them, okay, fine. Guys, Ani Aharon. I'm going to go last. All right? So number one, by the way, why did Rabbi Akiva volunteer to go last? So I want to give you one. Number one, he's the smartest.
I'm going to take everything everybody said. I'm not going to copy them. I'll do my own guys.
Number one, he's smart, original. Number two, Rabbi Akiva was considered to be a tremendous expert in Agadah. So you're all going to go, and you're worried you're going to step on each other's toes, maybe repeat something, maybe, right? But, this is my space. This is my zone.
Rabbi Tarfon was not speaking to Rabbi Ishmael at the time? He was
No,
speaking to the rest
to
of
them
the rabbis.
before they went.
Before they were in the car on the way.
In the car, and they
Discussing what they were
outside.
On the way to Cabo.
Outside, not realizing he was listening on the ring. Rabbi Ishmael, Patach Rabbi Ishmael, right? Rabbi Ishmael opened and he started off by saying, Rabu avonotav. He's talking about himself in the third person, like we do sometimes for negative things. Rabu avonotav had so many averot, techafuhu avelav. So because I have so many avonot, I had so many different avelut, so many different bereavements. Hitriach rabotav, pa'am rishona v'shniya. Not only that, he had to bother his teachers to come once and twice. What are we talking about? What's the concept? The Rabbi Tarfon, in his loss, had forced effectively his rabbis to come to pay him a shiva call numerous times.
Tarfon, or the rabbi who lost the 2 sons now?
Rabbi Ishmael. Rabbi Ishmael is the one who's sitting. He's saying it to the other rabbis.
I'm sorry for making you coming.
Because of my sins, I have all this avelut. And now look, my rabbis had to come to me again and again. Okay, Rishonah, Shiniya. All right? For 2 sons. Rabbi Tarfon, ve'amar. Rabbi Tarfon answered and he said, Ve'achechem kol beit Israel yibku et haserefa. When it talks about Aaron HaKohen losing his 2 sons, it says, and your brothers, all the Jewish people, they're going to cry for this devastation. Is it not a kal v'chomer? Nadav v'Avihu shlo asu ela mitzvah achat. Nadav and Avihu, they did one mitzvah. Dichtiv v'yikru b'nei Aaron et adam elav v'yakrivu. They brought the blood towards the mizbeach. Still, they had this incredible honor, kach, that everyone, the whole Am Yisrael, was going to mourn for them. Chol Bnei Yisrael yikru et hasefer. Banav shel Yishmael, the sons of Ishmael, achat kama v'kama. How much more so that they're going to have this tremendous honor. All right? Now, just to be clear, it's a strange Gemara. Nadav and Avihu did one mitzvah. Don't we know that Moshe Rabbeinu consoled Aaron HaKohen? He said, you know why they died? They died because God said to me on the day of the inauguration of the temple, Bikrobai Akadesh, I'm going to be sanctified by the ones closest to me. I thought that meant me or you. But look, they were closer to God than me or you.
Wow.
And that was what brought Nechamat Aaron.
That's heavy.
So you hear Moshe says to Aaron that Nadav and Avihu are closer to God than me and you. And now you have a Gemara where he says, look, they did one mitzvah, they got this. Your sons were big people. Of course they deserve that the rabbis should come out for them. The answer is...
Consoling the father.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Consoling the father.
Yeah, but you can't console the father by dumping on Nadav and Avihu.
Not just making them bigger.
No, but he's making Nadav and Avihu, minimizing. They only did one mitzvah. What are you talking about? How could they have been bigger than Moshe and Aaron and they only did one mitzvah? The answer is, not they only did one mitzvah total. In the space before they died, in the proximity of their death, they did one mitzvah. Your sons, before they died, there were many mitzvot they were involved in.
Was that considered a mitzvah if they died for it?
What do you mean?
Bringing the incense.
No, it's not talking about the incense that they brought. Yeah?
Oh, I thought it was.
Right? They brought the blood of the korban. So you see that they did a different mitzvah, but they did it on behalf, before the fire, on behalf of Am Yisrael. Okay?
Oh my God, I didn't see that.
So, still, if all they did right before they died was this, your sons who did so much more, many mitzvot for the Jewish people before they passed away, okay? And that's why they had this giant eulogy. So, of course, it's all the more so we should come and pay respects. Rabbi Yossi Aglili answered and said, V'sabdu kol Yisrael v'kaberu oto. And Yerovam, the king, right? Sorry, Aviyah, who was the son of the king Yerovam, who was a wicked king. All the Yisrael, they came and they eulogized him and they buried him. All right? Aviyah ben Yerovam shlo asa el davar echad tov. Aviyah, the son of Yerovam, did only one good thing tov. How do you know that he did one good thing? Dichtiv be, because it says Ya'an nimtza bo davar tov. Because the pasuk says, because was found in him one good thing. All right. So what did he do that was this one good thing? Right. We'll see in just a minute. Right. But because of the one good thing, therefore he got the honor of everyone mourning him. Banav shel Ishmael, your sons that did so much good. For how much more so should we all come and pay you respects? What's this davar? What's the one good thing that Aviyah ben Yerovam did? Both Rabbi Zera and Rabbi Chanina bar Papa say, one says that he was mivatel the mishmeret, okay?
We learned Mishmarot on the way, and then they wouldn't let the guys go up to they put the soldiers on the road to not let the people go up on Shavuot and on the times. Was it in
yes, in Masechet Ta'anit. So it was one of the bad days and one of the good days. Right. Was when it was instituted and when it was taken off. Right? So here's the interesting thing. So Yerovam, in order to show the people he meant business, he even positioned as a guard at the fork in the road his own son, Aviyah. Aviyah didn't listen to his father. He abandoned his post and he went himself to the Beit HaMikdash to be Ole Rega. He did that davar tov one time. So because of that, he was rewarded. That's the first opinion. Chad Amar, and one said, Shebitel pardesaot, Shoshiv Yerovam Aviv al derachim shelo ya'al Yisrael regel. No, not that he himself went that one time, but rather he abolished the whole decree of the people waiting on the roads. So he made sure that if anyone wanted to go to the Beit HaMikdash, they would not be hassled or stopped on the way. Either way, the idea revolves around one good deed that he did. So Rabbi Yossi HaGalili comforted Rabbi Ishmael, and he said, don't worry, don't feel bad that we were forced to cut. Look, in the Torah, for one good thing, the whole nation, it says, mourned him and eulogized him. How much more so you?
This is all a reflecting process, right? It's discussing the guy, made a mitzvah.
Yeah,
They give the guy comfort.
they're giving the guy comfort.
Right,
He
right.
felt
So
bad.
they're finding all-
Rabbi Ishmael felt bad. Besides for the mourning, he felt bad that now the rabbis all had to, I feel terrible, Aib, that you had to leave your class. You canceled the Gemara. You came here. So they're telling him, don't worry about it. Look, you see in the Torah. Yeah, exactly. Even for one. And on the sly, they're also throwing in that his sons did many great mitzvot before they died. So they're also kind of paying a compliment to the children. Now, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah spoke up, he answered and he said, Bishalom tamut ubimisrefot avotecha hamelachim arishonot asher yu lefanecha ken yisrefu lach. Don't worry about it, right? The same way you what's it called? You're going to die peacefully, in the same way they made the special ceremonies of burial for your parents, for your predecessors as the kings. Don't worry, they're going to do that for you as well. What are you referring to? The halacha is that a king has something, you can't use the object of the king. Using the object of the king means that you're like taking his royalty. Okay?
Can't use his horse or his wife.
Not his horse, not his wife. What else? In the story of Purim, that's why Haman says, the man the king wishes to honor. What should he do? He should ride him on the horse that the king rides, and he should give it all the trappings of the king, because Haman, he was power hungry. He wanted to be able to show the people that I could use the king's vestments, I could use the king's stuff.
The king.
But by the way, it was from Hashem that Haman made that choice, because that's the moment when Achashverosh starts to be paranoid that Haman's trying to take over the... Yeah, exactly. Okay? Now, so...
And that Haman was pushed by the angel to try to use the wife of the king.
In the final, but that doesn't happen until the end. Yes. Spoiler alert. Okay. So the Gemara says that they don't worry, they're going to do the same burnings that they did for your predecessors. You're going to have also that no one should use your items. Same thing. Tzidkiyahu did one mitzvah that he pulled Yirmiyah Navi from the pit of mud. They threw him in a pit and he pulled him out. Kach, he merited to have a haftacha like this, to die peacefully, to have all of Am Yisrael be present for their burning his stuff, so that no one ever could use it. Your children, how much more so? What's the final one? Now, Rabbi Kiva Amar, Rabbi Kiva said, "B'yom ahu yigdal hamisped b'Yerushalayim ki mispad hadad rimon b'bikat bigdon." On that day, the pasuk says, the misped, the mourning of Jerusalem, will be so great, like the mourning of Hadad Rimon in the valley of Megiddo. Now, this concept is a big discussion. What this great mourning is, whether it's esoteric, whether it refers to the death of Mashiach ben Yosef. It's a big conversation about why there was such a great mourning. But regardless, he's bringing the pasuk that says that there was such a great mourning, and he said this day he's comparing, so to speak, what a tragedy it was to lose the sons of Rabbi Ishmael to that day. Gemara says, what is this pasuk? If not for the targum of this pasuk, I wouldn't have known what this whole story is referring to. On that day, there'll be a great mourning. Like the misped of De'achav bar Omri. Like the mourning over Ahav, son of Omri. The Katal Yateh, who was killed by Hadad Rimon ben Tavrimon, who was killed by this man, Hadad Rimon, the son of Tavrimon, Ukimispeh de Yoshia, and like the mourning over Yoshia the king, Yoshia bar Amon, de Katal Yate Paro Chagira v'Bekat Megiddo, that Paro, the lame, there was a certain Paro who was lame. He was led a great warrior nation, and they killed Hoshea. So effectively, what the Targum is doing is it's saying that the pasuk is really an amalgam of two stories: Hadad Rimon killing Ahav, and Paro killing Yoshiao. We've had this pasuk, that's why.
We did.
The pasuk of Hadad Rimon, we've talked about it in a few different places. It's a very famous pasuk. Okay. Anyway, so mixing these two great stories. Says Rabbi Akiva, is it not a kal v'chomer? Achav, the king of Israel, did only one thing. The king Mo'amad, it says, right? He wasn't standing, he was stood up in his chariot. So he was propped up, right? Nochach Aram, opposite Aram, even though he had died already, they wanted to show that he had, so to speak, he was, he's already dead, but he wanted to show that he was not yet fallen, so that the soldiers wouldn't give up and lose the battle. So what did he do good? As he's dying, he says, prop me up in the chariot. Show me they have a leader. Exactly. So a very brave, courageous thing to do, right? So Kach, he gave one item. What did you say? Right? Yeah. One of the items, this one did item, and Kach, he was given such an honor when he passed away that there was such a tremendous mourning in Yerushalayim. Kach banav shel Ishmael achat kama v'kama. How much more so your children? Gemara says, Amar le Rava bar Mari. Rava said to Rabbi Mari, one second. K'tiv b'tzidkiyahu, it says by tzidkiyahu, b'shalom tamud, you're going to die peacefully. K'tiv, and it says, v'et tzidkiyahu iver, but it says that at the end of his life, Tzidkiyahu, Nebuchadnezzar put out his eyes, because they told him that he was mocking Nebuchadnezzar for eating a rabbit like Even Menachai while it was still alive. They're like he was like a savage, okay? Amar le Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan said, right? Shemet Nebuchadnezzar biyamav. You know what it means that you'll die peacefully? Not that everything's going to go well for you, but that the person who caused you such damage and blinded you and exiled you, he's going to die during your lifetime. So you're going to die b'shalom, knowing that the person who hurt you was no longer around. That's the Gemara up until now. We're going to continue Be'ezrat Hashem from here at the next class.
28b4.
Sorry?
Are we saving this for the Siyum?
I don't think we have enough for a class and a siyum.
You hear? So it's Sunday or
No, we only have
What do you mean?
2 pages.
You like to,
Not even.
finish
We have like a half a page
oh,
left.
you do it at the CM and then.
So we're up to 28b4.